Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm happy to be with you today. I'm continuing to talk about various verses in John chapter 14, and I have a couple today to share. Let me begin by reading verse 22 of chapter 14, and then I'll read 23. Now remember, this is the time when Jesus is talking to his disciples, giving them information that they need about him and them and themselves. They don't quite understand it yet. They will soon, but they don't now. And so we find this verse. Judas said to him, not Judas Iscariot, the other one. Judas said to him, that's Jesus, Lord, why are you going to reveal yourself only to us and not to the world at large? Now, let me stop here just a second. This disciple has at least grasped one important point, and that's this. The teachings of Jesus, the relationship with Jesus, is not just for the disciples, but ought to be, in the disciples' idea, ought to be with the whole world. The idea that Jesus' love is restricted to people who come to church is crazy. People who come to church are no different, to a large degree, than people who don't come to church. Now, don't misunderstand me there. I'm not saying everybody who comes to church is a horrible person. But the basic fundamental stuff of who a person is not determined by whether they go to church or not. And I've heard so many people, so many years, who express in one way or another the church is only for good people or special people. And the church is for everyone. This disciple got that message. Why are you not going to share this to the whole world? So then we come to the next verse, and Jesus says, all who love me and will do what I say, my Father will love them, and we will come and make our home with each of them. Well, obviously, Jesus doesn't mean they're going to invade them like the old movie, the horror of the body snatchers. What he's talking about is every person, you, me, the guy next door, the guy down the road, the one I can't stand the most, the one who hates me the most. And yeah, there are some who feel that way, I'm sure. Uh, Even had a few over the years to tell me that. All people everywhere who love the Lord and do what he says. God and the Father, God, Jesus, the Father, it gets a little complicated with the Trinity, but the Lord will love every one of them. And he will come and dwell within them. He will come and live in their hearts and change them. Jesus said it himself. It's not so much what we do on the outside that matters. It's what we do on the inside. Well, both are important. There's no question about that. But God looks at who you really are, the person you really are, not the person you project to the public. I guess that's what I dislike the most about politicians. You never really know who they are. And then you have those who think that actors who play a role, that's who they really are. Maybe sometimes you ought to look at the little treatise on actors who were horrible people, though they looked wonderful on the screen. God looks at our insides. And when we claim to walk with him and love him, we do what he says. We follow his teachings. And the disciple was asking a question that Jesus already had the answer for. Why don't you share this with the whole world? The disciple asked. And Jesus said, I am. Every one of them who love me and walk with me, the Father and I will love them. And we will come, I like the way it says, and make a home with each of them. That's not just a visit. That's not just an occasional patch on the back. That's a home, a place where you can feel secure and you can feel accepted. And you can know that God has your best interest at heart. Now, I don't know if you've experienced that in your life. I hope you have. If you haven't, well, you still can. You're not too old, or you're not too young. You're not too imperfect. You're not beyond hope, as someone told me the other day when I invited him to church. Well, there's no hope for me, he said. Oh yeah, there really is. There's hope for everybody. And I would hope, to play on the word, I would hope that you would invite him into your life. Do what he says. If you don't know what he said, I've said it before, read Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. That'll tell you what you need to do. There's more to it, but that'll get you a good start. And then you can expect God to come and live within you and transform you into the most beautiful, wonderful, successful, caring human being you could ever have imagined. Yeah, that's how it works. So I invite you to think about it. Take a look at yourself. Take an inventory, if you will, of how you're doing. And in the meantime, if you have a need or a concern, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thanks so much for listening today. I'll be back one more time and finish up this topic of John chapter 14. God bless you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.